Right, okay, year 11, we're going to start writing your B question in about 10 seconds. I'll say, so get ready, I'll say start when it's ready to go. I'll be writing my answer on the screen and recording it so that you can see it. I'm going to allow about an extra 20 seconds so I've got time to set everything up. So your time, 5 minutes-ish, starts now. Okay, so you'll have to say that we're finished. So stop writing there. What I'll do is I'll show you what I've wrote, and then I'll pick a couple of examples from other people in the class to see how they've got on, so you've probably done some better answers than me. Okay, so if you look on the board there, I haven't put it on the board. Right, okay, I've very much had in my head there that I want to teach, that I want to do it in 5 minutes, and I want to describe what the document teaches about justice. Okay, so at the back of my head, I always have that sometimes on the B question, sometimes you get 2 ways. So I'm always ready with at least 2 ways. I know it doesn't do it now. I'm always ready with at least 2 ways or 2 examples that teaches about justice. So I always have 2 examples, 2 ways in the back of my mind, just in case a question comes like that. So that's just how I think, how I work it out. Okay. So the way I've started this answer is quite straightforward. So I've referred to the fact that it's a church document from Vatican II. So church document from Vatican II, Gaudium, Spes, or Joy and Hope. Right. If you've wrote about Vatican II, can you highlight it and underline it? If you haven't, can you add that in? I would imagine that you've got the word Gaudium Spes in, but also if you can get in that it means joy and hope. Okay, this gives real clarity that you know what you're talking about in the first place. So I then talk about there the 2 things that it teaches about justice. So there's other examples that you could have, but for this one, I'm going to talk about justice in terms of economic justice, so money, and I'm going to talk about the preferential option for the poor. Okay, so economic justice, highlight that. If you've got it, write it down if you haven't. And the preferential option for the poor, add that in if you haven't got it. If you have, underline it. Okay, so the 2 things it teaches about justice, I'm focused on are economic justice and the preferential option for the poor. Okay, so firstly, its teaching on economic justice states that workers should get a fair wage. Okay, so the first teaching is that workers should get a fair wage. And it actually says in the document that they should receive enough to furnish a man with dignity. Right, make sure you've got that quote in if you haven't get it already. So talking about money, it says you should have enough money, enough wages to furnish a man with dignity. So that's how it talks about economic justice. Yeah. Then the second way it teaches is about the preferential option from the poor. Now, to make mine better, I probably could have mentioned that again, but I haven't because I've mentioned it there. I've just referred to what that means. So secondly, it teaches that the poor should come first in order to bring a fair society. Okay, so it's good that I've been doing it under time conditions because it allows me to understand what you're going through. So I've started running out of time a little bit there, so I've had to get down something fairly quickly. Okay, so I've wrote there, secondly, it teaches that the poor should come first in order to bring a fair society. That's what is meant by preferential option for the poor. Add that down if you haven't got it, underline it if you have got it, and get a fair society by bringing the poor out of poverty. This is done through what the document calls, so this is divine charity, so that's a direct quote from Gaudium Spes, divine charity, and to support those in need, to support those who are deprived. Again, it says that exactly in the document, so that word says deprived, sorry about the bad handwriting, and that is stated, I've wrote there as stated in the document itself, so add that if you haven't got it. Okay, does that make sense, everyone? Everyone happy with that? Right, row 3, I think, did this question, so I'm just going to pick on a few other examples from that. So again, here's probably a better example than mine with good and lovely handwriting. Okay, so describe what Gaudium Spes teaches about justice. The Catholic Church teaches that injustice and inequality are wrong. They believe that everyone, no matter age, gender, race or religion, should be treated equally. Okay, so equality, yeah, that is mentioned in Gaudium Spes. The Catholic Church recommends that Catholics to work for the common good Brilliant. Okay, so the common good is, again, wanting the best for absolutely everyone in society. And again, we've got here the poor's need before their own. So that's the preferential option of the poor. So equality can be eradicated. So you've got there two teachings of equality, and then you've got the common good. Okay, and then you've got there Gaudium with Spes states that since all men possess a rational soul and are created in God's likeness, great quote. So because they're made in great likeness, the basic equality of all must increasingly receive greater recognition. Okay, so again, you've got there another really good examples of this time of equality, of teaching about justice. So it's justice to be treated equally, and then that you should work for the common good is another just way. Okay, so can you, if you haven't got anything else in there, can you make sure that you've got that quote? And I would just take the bit out of it that says in God's likeness to keep it really simple. Okay, so if you're created in God's likeness, everyone should be treated equally. Okay, so can you get that down as well? Okay, there's the answer to the B question.